The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our US-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit lifelock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
On December 12th, Disney Plus invites you to go behind the scenes with Taylor Swift in an exclusive 6-episode docuseries.
I wanted to give something to the fans that they didn't expect.
The only thing left is to close the book.
The end of an era. And don't miss Taylor Swift, The Eras Tour, the final show, featuring for the first time the Tortured Poets Department. Streaming December 12th, only on Disney Plus.
Building a portfolio with Fidelity Basket Portfolios is kind of like making a sandwich. It's as simple as picking your stocks and ETFs, sort of like your meats and other topics, and managing it as one big, juicy investment. Now that's pretty good. Learn more at fidelity.com/baskets. Investing involves risk, including risk of loss. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. Member NYSE SIPC.
This episode is brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. What do you bring to a holiday party? Simple. A bottle of Casamigos. Because nothing gets the party started like a Casamigos margarita. Which isn't just for summer. In fact, it's the perfect pour all year round. Casamigos is the gift that always feels right. Because anything goes with my Casamigos. Please drink responsibly. Imported by Casamigos Spirits Company, White Plains, New York. Casamigos Tequila, 40% alcohol by volume.
Hello, I'm Diane Morgan. If you know who I am, you know who I am. If you don't, who cares? I'm here to explain Italian Time, a holiday phenomenon where Italians throw away their clocks and gather for eternity with San Pellegrino. I've been at this party so long that I've eaten 5 courses, hugged someone's grandma twice, and been offered a job in the family restaurant. So this holiday season, make sure to bring enough San Pellegrino to last you through the meal, the after meal, and the entire goodbye ritual. San Pellegrino, holiday on Italian Time.
Thanks for listening to the Red Treehouse, where I tell you scary stories to keep you up at night. You can listen to the Red Treehouse wherever you stream podcasts. Just be sure to follow, like, and subscribe. Oh, and leave a 5-star review. The Red Treehouse is dedicated to my dad. I love you, Pop. You know that picture of a partially submerged iceberg? The one where what hides below the surface is far deeper than what we see above the water? Well, recently, I found one detailing various scary games and rituals, with those above the surface considered less scary and risky than the ones plunging deeper. And it got me thinking, what are the absolute scariest and riskiest games and rituals to play in the dark? Well, I found enough for a handful of episodes, including today's. In this episode of the Red Treehouse, we're going to explore 3 scary games to play in the dark: the Pitch Black Ritual, Dinner with the Dark Man, and the Corner Game. All of these can best be described as summoning rituals, and are legitimately scary and guaranteed to keep you up at night. Is it possible these rituals open a portal to a paranormal and supernatural world? And by playing them, are you opening yourself up to potential malevolent spirits whose goal is to haunt you forever? I'll share the details. You decide for yourself. I'm your host, Will. Welcome to the Red Treehouse. Our first game is the pitch black ritual. I should probably tell you up front, the pitch black ritual serves no other purpose than to give you a peek through to the other side, another world or dimension beyond our own. And if you're thinking, oh, that's it, well, there's something else. The less you see, the better. And in fact, seeing anything more than faint glimpses indicates something is deeply, deeply wrong. Here's how to play. First, you'll need to gather a few items beforehand. A large mirror. Wall mirrors are highly recommended. A candle and matches or lighter. A small table or chair to set the candle on. A flashlight. A timekeeping device with an alarm, preferably a cell phone. A dark, quiet room. And somewhere to sleep. Now that you've gathered your items, you're ready to begin the ritual. You must begin at night. Set up the mirror in your dark room if needed. An important note: when you look in the mirror, you should be able to see your reflection from at least the waist up. Then place the table or chair so that it is behind you when you're standing in front of the mirror. It should be close enough to illuminate the immediate area around you. Then, place the candle on the table or chair. When lit, you should not see its reflection in the mirror. Then place the matches or lighter next to the candle, but do not light it yet. Once you've set up the mirror and candle, immediately close the curtains, draw the blinds, or block the windows. You must make sure the room is pitch black. Then remove all devices or electronics from the room. Once you've done this, turn off all the lights and make sure the room is pitch black. If not, remove any and all light sources before moving forward. Once you're confident the room is pitch black, set your alarm for 2 to 3 hours from the present time, enough time for you to get a small amount of sleep. Then place the alarm where you have chosen to take a nap, and then fall asleep. When the alarm blares, wake up, move to the dark room, and close the door behind you. Make sure the room is pitch black, and then light the candle. Once you've done this, stand between the candle and the mirror, facing the mirror. Make sure you cannot see the candle's reflection in the mirror. Then take your non-dominant hand and place it flat on the mirror's surface. Ensure that your palm and fingers are touching the glass. An important note: your non-dominant hand tends to be the hand that you do not write with. So if you're right-handed, your non-dominant hand would be your left hand, and vice versa. And if you're ambidextrous, simply choose a hand and go with that one. Once you've placed your hand on the mirror, look at your eyes in your reflection and hold your gaze without looking away. Then take a deep breath and hold it for as long as you're able. Then, exhale slowly while maintaining eye contact with your reflection. Continue doing this and pay close attention. If nothing happens, the ritual has failed and you'll need to proceed to the closing, which we'll cover in just a few moments. But if any of the following occur, the ritual has succeeded. You may feel an odd sensation under your palm, something squirming, buzzing, vibrating, or moving. You may hear strange sounds around you, voices, whispers, or soft music. You may see your reflection shift. You may see the face of a loved one, or a demonic entity. And you may see the surroundings in your reflection change. Small details are different. You notice other people in the room's reflection, or the surroundings themselves are completely different. No matter the case, continue staring in the mirror for as long as you want, and when you are done, you may proceed to ending the ritual. If the ritual does not work, or if it works and you are done playing, you must end it by following these steps exactly. First, return to your normal rate of breathing. Then, close your eyes for a brief moment and open them immediately. Then remove your hand from the mirror and turn on the lights. Once you've done this, blow out the candle and leave the room immediately. Once you've ended the ritual, it's important to pay close attention for some time afterwards. Remember, you opened the portal into a different world for no other reason than to get a peek. And if the ritual worked, ending the game may not close the portal. And while you don't have to destroy the mirror used in the game, it may be best to put it into storage or avoid it altogether, because you never know who or what will be staring back at you. Our second game is called Dinner with the Darkman. A summoning ritual, Dinner with the Darkman tells you most of what you need to know. You'll be calling up and introducing yourself to the Darkman and having dinner with him, for the sole purpose of asking him one question. Seems simple enough, right? Well, maybe not. Because conjuring the Darkman tears the veil between our world and another, and depending on how long it takes for him to answer your question, he has up to 8 days. You may be in for a long and scary experience. Of course, it's always advised that you avoid playing this game, because you never know who will answer your call. Here's how to play. First, you'll need to gather a few items beforehand. A room where you'll be undisturbed for the duration of the ritual. A table with 2 chairs. 2 sets of dishes, silverware, and cups. Then you'll need to make enough food for 2 people. An important note: like most of us, the Darkman enjoys a decent meal, and he is more likely to answer your question if you feed him well. Then you'll need enough drinks for 2 people. An important note: some instructions encourage beer or mead. However, if you're under the legal drinking age of 21, he also enjoys non-alcoholic drinks, and especially fresh water from streams or rivers. Finally, you'll need 2 coins. Once you've gathered your items, you're ready to begin the ritual. First, go into the chosen room and make it as dark as possible. Draw the blinds, close the curtains, turn off every light. The room should be nearly pitch black. Then remove all distractions, cell phones and electronic devices, etc. It is incredibly important that you're as clear-headed as possible. Then set up the table and place the chairs on opposite sides. Once you've done this, place the dishes, silverware, and cups on the table in front of each chair. Then make dinner, but don't bring it into the room yet. Once you've done this, place the 2 coins in your pocket. Go back into the room and close the door behind you from inside the room. Then, knock on the door 3 times and say, "I call to you, Darkman," in greeting and in reverence. "I see that you have traveled far, and as custom dictates, I offer you food and drink if you answer my calling." Then knock 3 more times and wait. You should start to feel the Darkman's presence. Once you feel his presence, say out loud, "I welcome you into my home, Darkman, and I only ask for your company and for you to answer my query." Then knock 3 more times and open the door. When you do this, you may see the Darkman as a shadow, or flickering lights, or odd shapes in the dark or out of the corner of your eye. You may not see him, but rather feel his presence around you. With the door open, he will now enter the room. Be sure to greet the dark man and invite him to his place at the table. An important note: there is no specific phrase at this point, though you may say something like, "Welcome, this is your seat. I'll be right back with our food." Once you've greeted him, bring the food into the room and serve it and the drinks for both of you. Then sit down and eat in silence. Pay close attention to your surroundings. You may hear strange sounds, or see odd movements, or strange lights, or objects moving on their own. Do your absolute best to remain calm. Once you've finished eating, say out loud, "I thank you for your company, Dark Man, and in exchange for having offered you food and drink, I ask you to answer my query." Then, ask your question and listen for the answer. It may come immediately as a whisper or disembodied voice, or it may come as a sign. If you receive an immediate answer, place the 2 coins on the table and say out loud, "Take this in return for your company and wisdom." If you do not receive an immediate answer, place 1 coin on the table and say out loud, "Take this in return for your company. I give you 1 week and 1 day to answer my query, and only then will you receive the rest." Then, open the door, leave the room, and close the door behind you. Make sure to say goodbye to the Dark Man. When you no longer feel his presence, you can rest assured that he has left. If you did not receive an answer, immediately bury the 2nd coin and wait until the next morning to dispose of the leftover food and drink. And if the Dark Man still owes you an answer, pay close attention for the next 8 days. Strange things will happen, and you can receive your answer at any time. Once you have it, immediately bury the 2nd coin. An important note: there is the possibility that conjuring the Dark Man will open a permanent portal to the spirit world, and that even after receiving an immediate answer, things may not seem normal. Be cautious, pay attention, and most of all, perform this ritual at your own risk. We'll explore our final scary game right after this quick ad break.
¿Hablas español?
Sprichst du Deutsch?
Kan du norsk?
If you used Babbel, you would. Babbel's conversation-based techniques teaches you useful words and phrases to get you speaking quickly about the things you actually talk about in the real world, with lessons handcrafted by over 200 language experts and voiced by real native speakers. Babbel is like having a private tutor in your pocket. Start speaking with Babbel today. Get up to 55% off your Babbel subscription right now at babbel.com/Spotify, spelled BABBEL.com/Spotify. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Our final ritual is called the corner game. You know what really freaks me out about most of these games? They take our homes, the one place where we should feel absolutely safe, and turn them into places of relative unsafety and fear. Our last ritual, the corner game, has a horrifying premise. You're conjuring a spirit who likes to hide on the ceiling and in corners. If you've ever wanted to summon a ghost, or if you were unsure if your home was haunted, this is the ritual to figure it out. Here's how to play. You'll need 4 participants, yourself included, and you'll need an empty room that has 4 corners, no more and no less. Once you and 3 others have mustered up the courage and found the room, you're ready to begin. First, you must clear the entire building where your room resides. There should be no other people, or pets, or living things in the building. Once you've cleared the space, turn off the lights in every room in the building except the game room. Then, enter the game room, and when you walk in, say your full name aloud 3 times. Once there, designate one person as the speaker. Once that person has been chosen, they are the only one allowed to speak. Then close the door to the game room once all 4 players are inside. An important note: do not speak. Then turn out the lights and remain quiet. Each player must choose a corner of the room. Only 1 player per corner. Do not speak. Each player must then stand in the corner facing the wall, and every player's back should be facing the center of the room. Remember, do not speak. Once everyone is in position, the speaker only must count to 3. All other players must remain silent. After the count of 3, all players must rotate clockwise to the next corner. An important note: do not turn around and do not speak. Repeat this rotation until something happens, such as a participant disappears. The speaker must tell the remaining players to enact the emergency procedure, which is as follows. Each player must speak their own name backwards 3 times, then turn around and press their backs into the wall. The player closest to the light switch should turn on the lights, and the player who disappeared should immediately reappear. An important note: do not speak. Here's a quick detail. You should say your full name backwards. For example, if your name is Joseph Smith, you should say Smith Joseph 3 times. Also, the player closest to the light switch should slide to the switch with their backs pressed against the wall. It is possible that while enacting the emergency procedure, you may see an additional unidentified figure in the room. It is important that you do not acknowledge it or speak to it. Once everyone has had enough, you may complete the ritual by doing the following. All 4 players must gather at the light switch. Remember, you must move with your backs pressed against the wall. Once all players are at the light switch, each one must say their name backwards 3 times. Once this has been done, you may turn on the lights and pray for the best. Open the door and leave the room, and do not enter for some time. And do your absolute best to not be alone in that room again with the lights off. Ever. A couple of important details. When rotating from corner to corner, do your best to not bump into another player. If this happens, turn on the light and wait a few minutes before resuming. But make sure you do not speak. Second, as I mentioned earlier, it is possible one player may disappear during the ritual. It is a good idea to have some sort of nonverbal signal to indicate if and when this happens. Maybe each player knocks on the wall after rotating, or each player claps to let the others know they're in the room. A skip in the sequence would indicate something is amiss. And finally, and maybe most importantly, you should not speak to or acknowledge the additional figure in the room when it appears. You must do your best to control your fear, and rest assured, it will scare you. Follow these rules and do the best you can, or else. Which of these rituals are you courageous enough to try? As we close this episode of the Red Treehouse, we're left with these lingering questions. Is it possible these rituals open a portal to a paranormal and supernatural world? And by playing them, are you opening yourself up to potential malevolent spirits whose goal is to haunt you forever. I've shared the details. Now you decide for yourself. I'm your host, Will. Thanks for joining me in the Red Treehouse.